It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
All right, SKOR North Twins Show. We are living in the twilight zone, asking AJ Fredrickson the same question I've been asking him for a better part of the last 3 weeks on every Monday or Tuesday, I guess, for any series starting. Can the Twins save their season? Hit that like button and subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel and podcast feed. You can also go check out our episode with Trevor Plouffe, who was great today. AJ, I don't know if you listened or heard that or even heard his Talking Baseball appearance, but Trevor saved a life. A kid was almost drowning in the ocean and he rushed in to save him. So not only is he a hero, I don't think he can save a drowning baseball team, but he did have thoughts on that. So if you want to check that out as a listener, subscriber to the SKOR North Twins Show, go check that out. Trevor Plouffe saving kids, maybe saving the season here for the Minnesota Twins. But I figured we'd jump in here from Extra Innings from Target Field, where I am also in the White Sox GM booth. As we were joking, I don't think Jerry Reinsdorf is going to be kicking down that door anytime soon. The assistant GM is Chris Getz, a former AL Central guy from 15 years ago. If Chris Getz wants to come on the show, I welcome that. But we'll see how long I can last here as the Twins. Let's see here. Yeah, they're still wrapping up BP here from Target Field. Some injury notes, though. Let's start with some updates. Pablo Lopez threw 66 pitches with the St. Paul Saints on Saturday. He's in a good spot to probably rejoin the rotation here soon. Rocco Baldelli hinted at he does have a date in mind. He was hesitant to provide that date just then and now, but I would imagine Pablo probably back in the rotation by the end of the week. I'm not sure what actual day that is. If he pitched on Saturday, he threw 66 and then threw a bullpen today. So I think best case, I guess if I'm timing this up, probably a Saturday or Sunday start maybe for Pablo. I know Patrick Royce went on an impassioned rant with us on Friday about not understanding why he was making a rehab start, and some very kind Twins fans pointed out he's not even eligible to come off. He's just making a rehab start. When Patrick Royce's on a roll, you just let him be on a roll. There's no stopping that freight train, okay? But Pablo Lopez in a good start, a good spot, makes the rehab start, threw a bullpen today, feeling good. Classic Pablo Lopez. It's not an excuse for their start, but they are without their best starting pitcher. They're obviously without maybe their best hitter in Royce Lewis. I'll have some updates on that later on in this episode. And Carlos Correa isn't hitting as well. There are some things that are working against the Twins they don't have at their disposal right now, but not an excuse for the bad start. I'm not making excuses, but Pablo Lopez at least on track to potentially come back to the Twins here in the next 5 days or so.
Yeah, and that'd be great. I mean, it's nice to have one decent pitcher that you can rely on, but when he's back in the rotation, that's just another guy. That gives you 2 out of 5 days, in a row, games in a row, where it's okay, we probably have a very good matchup. It puts us in a position to win. Him, though, coming back, it's all about finding that consistency, because now they're in such a hole here to start the season where it's you don't want to overdo it. It's, same thing for a lot of these guys that are hurt, where it's you want to get back as quick as possible into the lineup or the rotation, but also you don't want to rush it to where you come back for a game, maybe 2, and all of a sudden something starts acting up again, and then you get a setback, and now you're back on the IL, and now you're, it's all about finding that kind of day-to-day health and whatnot, but if he can come back, that is a massive bolster, and especially for the upcoming road trip, and then they have, I think, a home stint against the Giants before going back out on the road. A couple big teams coming to town here, or they're going to have to go visit, rather. Having Pablo Lopez out on the mound would be a massive, massive bolt to them.
Yeah, if they don't take care of business against the White Sox and Angels, who actually got off to a decent start but are now floundering a little bit,
yeah,
if they don't take 5 of these 6 games at Target Field, man, it's going to be tough regardless of what happens. You're in Cleveland and Boston for 7 games. To your point, you got the Giants and the Birds that are coming to town. Those are expected to be very good teams this year. They had this cushion, and this happened last year too. Literally, the same 2 teams. The Twins were 7-13. They had the White Sox and the Angels. I think they went on that 12-game winning streak. They won every game, and it kind of propelled them back into the conversation. But yeah, if they don't take care of things now, they're going to be in a heap of trouble. Some other things though that are encouraging. Luke Keaschall. So Keaschall was made his debut with the Twins in Atlanta. He was kind of forced up here. Willie Castro still dealing with an ailment. This is things that absolutely annoyed the hell out of me is Willie Castro hasn't played in a game in 3 days, and technically more like 6 days because they had an off day on Tuesday. They still haven't IL'd him. They still think they're in a good spot where they avoided putting him on the injured list to not be without him, so they put him off the injured list, take up a roster spot in hopes that he comes back in the shorter amount of time than what the injured list would have done. But then you're without a bat on your bench. I can't stand this. This absolutely infuriates me. But it does not take away the fact that Keaschall looked really good against the Atlanta Braves. I went on a side tangent there. Yep. And look, he's still kind of recovering from the Tommy John situation, but he's still DHing. He's going to bat third tonight. I mean, fourth game in the big leagues, and a struggling offense needs any jolt that they can get. Keaschall tore up minor league pitching, 400 OBP down there. He's still being brought along slowly as he comes back from the Tommy John. But, I mean, if Twins fans do want to get at least somewhat excited, and if there's any person you want to go see or watch or key in on, even throughout this bad start, Keaschall is probably the one you want to circle and watch.
Yeah, and frankly, I mean, how about a start for him so far, just being with the big club? He's getting on base over a third of the time so far. And good on Rocco, ride the hot hand. If he's hitting the ball, put him up in the top half of the order. Why not? And I think it's nice too. DHing, it's interesting to see how some guys will react to that, because you look at, I'm trying to think. I want to say it was Big Papi at one point in his career said like the transition from going to everyday first baseman to just being a DH, it's tough sometimes because you feel more engaged when you're going out and you're playing defense, even because the ball's not going to hit you all the time, but it's constant like, okay, I know how many outs, I know the situation, blah, blah, blah. And, you're paying more attention, whereas you're sitting in the dugout. Obviously, these pros are still paying attention. Uh-oh, do we have a Jerry Reinsdorf together for a sec?
I thought maybe Jerry Reinsdorf was kicking open that door.
But being on the bench, being in the dugout, not being able to really factor in, okay, I'm taking time off. Mentally, you might not be as prepared when you go up for your 1 in every 9 at bats. So having him DH here, I liked it. You got to have him in the lineup with how he's hitting the ball right now, but it'll be interesting to watch. He's a young guy. He's still making those adjustments. And it's like in that Kevin Costner movie where they throw up that For the Love of the Game.
Yeah. Not my favorite sports movie.
Halfway through. No, it's not. It's more of like a romantic comedy type thing. And I also realized when I said Kevin Costner baseball movie, that narrows it down to about 80 movies. So, but at the end, they throw up the young rookie guy because he's dumb confidence, doesn't realize the moment how big it is. Same thing, Keaschall here. He doesn't maybe realize, okay, just how big of a hole this team is in. He's just excited to get in some major league at bats, be an everyday major leaguer, and so right now he's hitting the ball really well.
Yeah, he's looked really strong. Defensively, it's still kind of interesting to see where he projects long term, because as he comes back from Tommy John, they don't want him playing the field necessarily and throwing consistently. Now he's played some second, he's played some outfield. I think he's probably longer away from playing some outfield than he is at second base. When he was with the Saints, he just played like 5 innings at a time. And Rocco, even, who has seen him in spring training and he gets the scouting reports, he is still trying to feel where does he fit and defensively, long term with the Twins, because he can't really accurately say. He can get all the scouting reports and the information, but until he sees, his player on the field, it's hard to project where he fits defensively with the Twins long term. That's not DH. I think it is probably second base if you're asking me, for whatever that's worth, but they're bringing him along a little slowly, but the bat's legit. Like, he's got good bat to ball skills. I will say, not that I can throw any stones to this, especially after I just shaved this face before coming to the ballpark today. I mean, kid looks like the youngest guy in the team, and it's not even close. I mean, and he might be like, I think he actually might be like, that's not hyperbole. Yeah. But the dude looks like a big leaguer, like he's been in the league for a long time, which is how well he's been swinging the bat in the first few games. And when you're a struggling ball club like this, you need to insert guys that are going to give you any type of positivity and contagion that they can. So Keaschall hit third, love it. I know when you look at Carlos Correa hitting fifth and struggling to get it going, you got to put your best players in the best situations right now. And if we're just looking at a 3-game sample size, Keaschall's been one of their better players.
And honestly, I would maybe even push back a little bit on that because over the last 7-day sample size, through 4 games, Carlos Correa is batting 364. Like he's been getting on base, he's been getting a little hot, and so I feel like it's always okay. When is he finally gonna get over that hump? When's he finally gonna get off the block and stumble out of the gate? And it seems maybe earlier than normal. I know we're sitting here on what is it, not I almost said August, April 22nd, and it's like, yeah, you should probably be in the swing of things here for the pros, but Carlos Correa, notorious slow starter, this feels almost early to get him going. So that could be nice here if he can continue that. And it's not a flash in the pan, and he looks like a normal Carlos Correa that you get usually around dead heat of summer, late July, early August.
Yeah, they need Correa to start picking it up. And look, he's dealing with a nagging wrist injury too that flares up all the time. To your point, now maybe he's in a spot where he feels comfortable, where he can, put the bat on the ball a little bit more, which is good. But they need, Buxton will ebb and flow. He's just a very streaky hitter. Nothing's gonna change there. Like he's gonna have a week where he's buck trucking and parking baseballs. And he's gonna have a week where he strikes out in 50% of his at bats. That's just who he is. But if he's healthy and he's playing center field every day, like you can kind of take a little bit of your medicine with that. Mm-hmm. With Correa, it's just getting him to a spot where hopefully he can get out of the funk where he's not hitting into double plays and topping all those baseballs. On Griffin Jax, so Griffin Jax has struggled this season. We just look at his raw numbers. It's no secret there. He's blown some games for the Twins, unfortunately. But I think execution-wise, it is just slightly below, and I'm not trying to be a smartass here, it's just slightly below what he's accustomed to doing. And with relievers and with going year in, year out, where he was last year one of the best relievers in baseball. And we've seen this in hockey all the time with goaltenders. Like outside of a few names like Connor Hellebuck and a few others, goalie 5 through 20 in terms of GSAA or any statistic you want to look at, it's interchangeable every year. The 18th best goalie might be the 5th best goalie the next season. The 5th best goalie might regress to being one of the league below league average. And relievers, unfortunately, fall into that. I mean, Emmanuel Clase has struggled mightily this year. Like that to me is even more glaring than Griffin Jax's struggles. But the execution of him not being able to hit the spots he's supposed to, and also, like, this is what happens in baseball. Scouting reports come out, and guys can lay off certain things, and I think a little bit of information is there. I don't know if Griffin Jax has necessarily lost his, high leverage spots, but it still doesn't make up for the fact that he's honestly blown 2, if not 3 games this season. But they still need him to be back in a spot, and I think mentally, Rocco really likes where he is at mentally, despite all those struggles. There's nothing physically wrong with him, which is good. I think if you saw the struggles and you could see there was dip in velocity and spin rates, there's something physically wrong. But mentally, I think he's still in a good spot, and they might be easing him back in. Maybe he's not doing this exact same high leverage situations. They need him to be good. They need him to be excellent. But he just needs to make a few little tweaks to get back in his execution, and the Twins are going to still have one of their better arms in their bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. There's the mainstay of you can count them on one hand, probably relievers that are just locked down. I mean, I feel like Josh Hader has been that guy for a decade now.
Yeah, right.
He's going to be good when he gets the call. A lot of these other guys, though, it's just parity. It's so much ups and downs and who's the hot hand this week, and maybe the next week that guy just absolutely stinks and can't find the strike zone to save his life. I would like to think that Griffin Jax, with his tenure with the Twins, is able to be consistently in that upper half of guys. But right now, mentally, it's if they feel confident about where he's at, that's great. But you also have to kind of toe that line, because pitching is, baseball's such a head game, mind game type of thing, where even when you hit, it's one thing, but pitching too, you get the ball. Okay, where's my slider? I know how my slider breaks and everything like that, but as soon as it releases, it might just have a mind of its own, and it doesn't always find the zone like you want it to, or you just can't quite hit a spot like you normally would. It's going to be important for him to find a groove. It's maybe you pick a certain very low leverage situation, because I don't know if it's confidence as much as it is just mechanics and scouting report. Because also baseball has never had this much technology available for players before.
Right.
There's iPads of 70 different camera angles breaking down how hard is a guy holding onto the ball and how many rotations that has when he releases it. And if the humidity is at 70%, what does that do with the trajectory? Because it's going to drop an extra third of an inch. They have so much technology at their fingertips these days. It's about adapting too. And so I think that's what the best players do as well. For instance, hitting wise, the main story to start the season has been the torpedo bats. Like, players have adapted at the plate by countering what pitchers have by having these different shaped bats, and that's just a science thing. Pitchers now also are being forced to adapt as well. And when guys know kind of what you maybe lean on, how you like to go your count, because it's not just that too. It's okay, if you're in a 1-2 count, what's your go-to pitch? Guys have tendencies and they learn and they can kind of predict. And it's like blackjack at the card table. Okay, if I got 3 high cards in the row, probably something lower is going to go. So he's going to burn a ball down low in the dirt, blah, blah, blah. They are able to predict pitchers better than ever before. And so it's about Griffin Jax adjusting and adapting, making himself a different version of Griffin Jax in order to find that group again.
I love the baseball and blackjack analogy because I like to think I'm good at both those things. And in reality, I'm definitely not.
I know I'm terrible at both.
Right. And by the way, nothing wrong at the blackjack table with just asking the table, what should I do? Don't be embarrassed, especially when you're at a full table. The last thing you need to do, the last thing you should do is bleep over that table. Totally okay to ask, what should I do in this situation? Nothing wrong with that.
There's no blackjack shame here. Really quick, do you like being the first seat on a blackjack table or the last? Do you want the first save, how cards go, or the last?
First. I do not want to be the last.
Give me last because that exact thing. It's like, okay, it's 15. They're showing 4. I kind of want to hit, but also I know I'm not supposed to. What does everybody else want? Okay, I'll stay.
Yeah. By the way, hit the like button and subscribe button for blackjack analogies and other sorts of things. By the way, our friends at Underdog. So right now, the extender is going on with basketball playoff series. So now when the Wolves sweep the Lakers, this can start again. But you might have gotten in on it in Game 1. For every game of a playoff series for each team, there will be another boost for games 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to if 7 games possible. So go to Underdog, use promo code SKOR when you sign up, get in on the fun. It's a great way to get in on the action. You can mix with MLB, ride higher or lower on golf as well, which is super fun. Promo code SKOR at Underdog. One more update here. So Royce Lewis he's doing some sprints. He ran the bases today. He was hitting in the cage. He has an axe bat. I noticed. I was talking to him today, and he was holding a bat. And I noticed, those bats are very obvious at this point. He's swinging an axe bat, torpedo bat. I don't think it's an axe bat. Torpedo bat.
We were talking axe handles before.
Handles before.
That's my fault.
He has a torpedo bat. He said he didn't swing it in spring, but he's been swinging it in the cage, and he kind of likes the way it feels. So he's swinging a little bit of a torpedo bat. First step here is running and sprinting, and if the body and that hamstring specifically is reacting well, they'll continue with that. Maybe a rehab stint down the line. I don't know if that's coming up sooner rather than later, but he is sprinting and running. The injury was pretty severe when it happened, and even though they should obviously be careful with a franchise, changing player like this, part of me wonders if they're maybe rushing things a little bit here with obviously their season on the brink, their offense not clicking. I wouldn't be on board necessarily with rushing Royce Lewis in a situation like that, and I'm not insinuating that that's what I'm hearing. But if he starts to progress well with his sprinting, I do wonder how quickly he'll get a rehab start. But if that sprinting goes well and the body's reacting good, maybe he's ahead of schedule, he's a fast healer, maybe he is on a rehab stint sooner rather than later. But good first steps. He's now being able to move and sprint appropriately, and hopefully his body reacts well, the training staff likes what they see, and then maybe he does get a rehab start like with the Saints or something.
Yeah, and it's not like there's anybody sitting here that, cheers on the Twins, or anybody watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe, who is sitting here thinking Royce Lewis doesn't benefit this team. Everybody knows that, whether it's the guy up in the bleachers or in the front office or down in the dugout, they know that he adds significant value to this overall lineup, right? And as you look at the standings, based off just solely win totals, there's 2 teams that are below the Twins right now, with the Rockies and the White Sox. they're in a pretty bad spot. So you want him back in the lineup as soon as possible. But it's also April 22nd. It's such a long season. And going back to kind of the small point I made on Pablo Lopez, which is as much as you want him in immediately, and if he said he could play, you probably want to consider, hey, let's get you in the lineup card. At the same time, you don't want him to come back here and then on a ground ball he outstretches and something gets retweaked, or he's trying to leg out a double on a ball on a line drive to the gap, and all of a sudden something gets re-aggravated and then he's out even longer. You want to be able to get him back to 100%. So at this stage of the year, I think I'm always going to take the scenic route. Have him go, stop and see the big ball of yarn, stop and see where they invented the bottle cap or something like that. And then he's going to eventually work his way back to target field into that lineup card when he's 100% healthy. I don't want to hop on the freeway if it means that there's a small chance, whether it's, 1% or 10%, that he's going to be out back on the IL in a matter of days. I think a guy of his caliber, of his overall athleticism and just baseball skill, you got to be careful with that. You can't bubble wrap him because it is a long season, but you do want to be cautious before just forcing him back in.
Yeah, and I think knowing Royce, he would say bleep you to the scenic route and get me on the interstate and let's go the 75 tomorrow.
Hey Royce, unfortunately, you don't get the full say. Yeah. I love that about him because he's a gamer. And I think that says a lot about his personality, but that's why the Twins pay thousands upon thousands of dollars for a medical staff and trainers and all this other technology for rehabbing and the minor leagues. They're going to have a say in it too if he does get a stint there. But he's going to know his body better than everybody. But also we've seen, Declan, where guys wake up and something doesn't feel right and they opt to maybe not share it with the team, and so it's then the doctors and the medical staff are guessing, well, what could it be? Is it a splinter? Is it a pulled hammy? We don't exactly know. He's not giving us a lot of information, and then a week goes by and it's hey, I really can't play with this anymore. I have a torn whatever. Well, why didn't you tell us sooner? Well, because exactly what you're saying, he's a gamer. He wants to be in there to help the team. I think a lot of fans would say, I want a healthy Royce Lewis first. So totally. It's kind of a seesaw of what are you going to do.
Hit that like button and subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. Appreciate everyone that has done so. We're getting close to 5,000 subs, so thank you for that. Hopefully hitting that here maybe by the end of the month even. So appreciate you guys for doing that. Yeah, go check out our episode with Trevor Plouffe on a Plouffe Tuesday. Now we'll have some extra innings episodes. We are at full throttle and full gas tank, trying not to get to E basically here at SKOR North over the next week with the Twins and White Sox, which we know where that falls on the priority list. The Wolves in the playoffs, the Wild in the playoffs, the NFL draft. We're going to be at Purple Daily draft party at the Fillmore, which is just steps away from Target Field. I saw people lined up today at the Fillmore. I was like, wow, they're already lined up 48 hours in advance. They're
tickets still available too.
Limited tickets available.
Yeah,
we are charging for tickets this year, but it's still a nominal fee. Go support the Fillmore and go support us here at Purple Daily. SKORNorth.com/draft for more information there. We're looking forward to that. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Hit that like button and subscribe button for more Minnesota Twins content. For AJ, I'm Dex. We'll be talking at you soon.